members and the guests in our meeting number 535. I'm your Sergeant at Arms today, and we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. You are now inside the code of conduct of a Toastmasters meeting. Please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and that it may not be possible to pause the recording. The following are the meeting rules. Please be advised that any behavior that disturbs the flow of the meeting will result in removal from the meeting room without any warning. Please ensure that your noise making devices are either switched off or on silent mode. Please speak responsibly on religion, sex, and politics in your speeches. As far as possible, please keep your video on and audio off. And applause flowing throughout. Be the kind of audience for others you would like to be for yourself. Now, let me hand over the stage to our presiding officer, who is a different person today. It used to be played by me, but today I'm glad to invite our new presiding officer, Rupinder. Could you please take it over?
Thank you, Kapil. Welcome everyone to meeting number 535 of Blue Quest. We are a club based out of Gurgaon, India, and we are probably, when we started, we were probably the oldest corporate club. Since then, we've transformed into a community club, and we are open for membership. I'm very proud to say that our club currently has 4 members who are from overseas, and the fact that this club it attracts an international audience is a big honor for me. I would like to recognize the guests that we have today. I will not ask for your introduction right now. I will ask for your introduction and comments towards the end of the meeting, which will be in about 1 hour and 45 minutes from now. I recognize the presence of Ariel Santos, our general evaluator who resides in China, but actually is from the Philippines. I recognize guest Jim, who's more of a member, more like an extended family that we have, and Jim will be participating in his district contests this Sunday. We wish him all the very best. I also would like to welcome another extended family member, Toastmaster Nimisha. Nimisha is participating in the evaluation speech contest this Saturday. So all the best, Nimisha. Another resident family member or extended family member, Toastmaster Naveen Parwal. Welcome, Naveen. And a friend I made less than 2 or 3 hours ago, Tony Thornhill, all the way from St. Louis, Missouri. I had the good fortune to visit his club, not once, but actually twice. And both of those times, they have been incredibly supportive with my speeches. I also had the good fortune to deliver a keynote, which they say was awesome. And I would like to believe them just because we want to get off to a positive start of the day. Speaking about a positive start of the day, our Toastmaster of the day is from Texas. Let me tell you how we met. My mentor, Shakti Priya Gauri, had a horrible day at the contest. And because she had a horrible day, I felt bad. It was around 2:30 a.m. Monday morning. I could not sleep. I did not want to stay in that room because I would have said something that I would regret later. So I just browsed the official Facebook Toastmasters page, and what I see is that there is some meeting happening in the Bahamas, Leading Voice Toastmasters Club. And I just randomly walked in, and then I heard this lady speak as a general evaluator. And I knew that I have found my next general evaluator. So I asked her if she would be willing to do a general evaluator, and probably one of the best general evaluators I ever saw. And that is not all. A few weeks later, she contacted me, said she wanted to join my club. And I consider it an immense honor to present to you the stunning, the awesome, and the one who's going to have the most fun today. Soon to be distinguished Toastmaster, Anna Whistler, with the theme Cinco de Mayo. Anna Whistler, Cinco de Mayo, Cinco de Mayo, Anna Whistler.
Bueno benditas! Feliz de Cinco de Mayo! And yes, you will hear a lot of white girl Spanish from me all night long. I am here to celebrate what is Cinco de Mayo for you, but still May 4th for mine. I changed. I don't know how many of you are Star Wars fans, but May 4th is known as Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. So I did have my Star Wars outfit on, but I figured I needed to change it up just a little bit because it is now Cinco de Mayo in your world, and we will celebrate that. So you will learn lots of fun facts, and we will talk about history as well. And as you can see my background, we are already celebrating. I did finish my margarita and tacos early. I'm sorry I didn't share anything with you, but we'll talk about that later. To start us off this evening, I would love to introduce to you our general evaluator. This way, we actually have a protocol in this meeting. We have someone who keeps us on track, who keeps a watchful eye on what we're talking about. But please do not judge me, Espanol. Es muy malo. Yo comprende, es muy malo. But to be our general evaluator tonight and to introduce his team, none other than Toastmaster Ariel Santos. Will you please introduce your team for this evening?
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster Anna. My name is Ariel. You can just call me Ariel. Or if you can pronounce it, you say it Ariel, because today is Cinco de Mayo. So pronounce it in a very Spanish way, or Portuguese, as my other friends say. I'm very happy to be here. I'm kind of nervous because I was telling Jim, maybe this is, we have different styles in different Toastmasters in different countries, but I'll try my best. I will introduce my team. Let me call on first our timer. Let me call on our timekeeper for today, the time police, please.
Yeah, hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Kapil, and I'm your timer today. As a timer, my job is to time all the speeches, table topics, and evaluations. For speeches, we have 5 to 7 minutes. So I will be showing up my green card at the end of 5 minutes, yellow card at the end of 6 minutes, and red card at the end of 7 minutes. For table topics are for 1 to 2 minutes. So I will be showing a green card at the end of 1 minute, yellow card at the end of 1.5 minutes, and red card at the end of 2 minutes. For evaluations, time slot is 2 to 3 minutes. So I will be showing green card at the end of 2 minutes, yellow card at the end of 2.5 minutes, and red card at the end of 3 minutes. So I will be showing my card. So let me share my screen. Rupinder, can you enable screen sharing? Okay. So I will be displaying my cards like this: green, yellow, red. That's it. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Kapil. Guys, I'm apologizing in advance just in case I mispronounce your names. Please tell me if I did, because a lot of people also do that with my name. And it's still you. I think it's still me and it's still us. Just mispronounced names. Let me now call on our counter, Elisa.
Thank you so much, Ariel. And yes, you said my name correctly. No one gets it right. So I'll be sending you a certificate at some point. As the out counter for this morning, I will be in charge of looking out for all of those filler words, namely well, so, like, but, you know. and other. We have such a beautiful language, be it English, Spanish, Hindi, whatever it may be, but sometimes it gets filtered in with these words that cloud it and make it sound not quite as brilliant. That's why we're going to try to take as many pauses as possible. If you don't know what to say, don't feel pressure to move forward. Just take a moment, breathe, think, and say the next word that's on your mind. This way we can avoid all those ahs and ums, and I will be keeping track throughout the meeting. Having said that, back over to you, Ariel, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Elisa. I love the way you introduced your role. Very nice, short and sweet. Let me call on now our grammar police, Gayatri.
Thank you so much, Ariel. Word of the day is jamboree. Jamboree means a big celebration or a party. It means coming together of a lot of people, coming together for a gathering, a get together. And examples would be Cinco de Mayo is one of the biggest annual jamboree events. If nothing else, the jamboree has done wonders for our speaking skills. This is one of the most welcoming jamboree. And I hope you all get to use word of the day in your speeches, in your evaluations. And apart from that, as a grammarian, I will be keeping a watch on all the good usages, all the new words used in your speeches, and I will also keep a watch on any errors made by the speakers or the evaluators or the role players. Thank you so much. Over to you, Ariel.
Thank you so much, Gayatri. I totally agree with you that Toastmasters is like a gigantic jamboree, and every meeting that we have, every weekly meeting that we have is a mini jamboree. I remember that word because I was a Boy Scout before when I wanted to say small, but I'm still small now. So I will say when I was much, much younger, just like all of us. Our founder, what's his name? Our founder, Mr. Smedley, said before that it's as important to give the evaluation to someone speaking or someone doing the role as it is doing the speech. Because when we do evaluations, what happens is we give the positive feedback mostly, and we help our fellow members to improve. And this is the beautiful thing that we have in Toastmasters. And that's our job today as your evaluation team. And that's my job today as your general evaluator, to see what we can still improve. Even if we're having an awesome meeting, I assume that we can improve every week, every time. Thank you so much, everyone. Back to Toastmaster Anna.
Thank you so much, Ariel. I will tell you that I am one of the worst speakers of Spanish because I have yet to figure out how to roll my R's. So I'm sorry your name will be said as simply as possible tonight. Just a forewarning. All right, so even though it is Cinco de Mayo, I want to celebrate some of the other historic events that happened on the 5th of May, because we are all in different cultures, different parts of this world. So why not celebrate things that happened throughout this entire history? Now we're going to start going backwards, because ultimately we are going to celebrate Cinco de Mayo, and that happened in the 1800s. So let's talk about 1961. On May 5th in 1961, Alan B. Shepard became the first American in space. He soared 115 miles above Earth in the spaceship Freedom 7. What a glorious sight that must be. Although it's cloudy here right now, I'm sure the stars would have been glorious in his view. Also in 1955, there was over 500,000 people in UK who received the polio vaccine. A little interesting now that we're talking about the vaccine on COVID. I just found that as an interesting tidbit, but over 500,000 people received that at that point on May 5th. All right, we're going to dive into the meeting. The bulk of our meeting, the best part of the meeting, in my opinion, is our prepared speaking positions. To introduce and tell us the purpose of our first speaker, I would like to introduce or bring to the virtual lectern the evaluator for our first speaker. Joyetta, will you please give our purpose for this next speech?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Anna, and good morning, everyone. The purpose of this speech of our first speaker is this project is for the member to present the speech to any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. He already delivered his first speech. Now, purpose of this second part of this project is for the member to demonstrate that he has applied the feedback received from his or her first speech evaluator. So the first evaluator gave him the evaluation point that try to refer your note as little as you can. It will help you to contact with your audience better. So I would like to hand over now to Anna so that she can call upon our first speaker. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias, Joyetta. Here for our first speech, we have Amit Tandon, 10 Days of My Married Life. 10 Days of My Married Life, Amit Tandon.
Good morning, good evening, fellow Toastmasters. The topic for my speech today is 10 days of my married life. Today marks the 10th day of my marriage. 10 days into this new world that I am in. 10 days of having left my ever so precious bachelorhood. And let me tell you, life has been completely different from what I thought it would be. On one hand, I used to think that my life would be run by my wife. But now, as luck may have it, it's only being run by COVID and weekly circulars issued by the government. We are again in partial lockdown and no one has any idea when this may end. Coming to the things that have changed. Earlier, it used to be one loud shout of, Amit, come down for breakfast at 9 a.m. in the morning from my mother. Now, it has become more of a sustained assault, wherein right from the time my wife gets up, it's like, Amit, Amit, get up. Amit, get up. Amit, get up. And this happens till either one of us gives up. Though love is showered later during the breakfast hours in a slightly different manner, where earlier, if I was late for breakfast, it was more about manage your own breakfast. Now I have someone who's actually willing to go through that ordeal with me and help me prepare my own breakfast. I'm still trying to figure out whether this is an act of feeding the goat before you sacrifice it, or whether this is an act of love. My mom used to be kinder back in the days when I was not married, and she used to shout at me for not taking a shower during these COVID times, probably once or maximum twice a day. Nowadays, it's become like 1,000 shouts which keep happening every 10-15 minutes. I still won't talk about how many times I take a shower on a daily basis, but I can assure you that it's not the frequency is not once a day. Before marriage, my Nutella cheat meals used to be mine only. I used to sit back and tease my younger brother when I was having them. Now, after marriage, my own cupboard has not remained mine. And let's not even get to the Nutella cheat meals. You've absolutely got to share everything in life. back when we had agreed to get married, all our talks used to be around going to Australia, going to Europe, going to Americas, and you know, planning the best honeymoon that you can plan. But then later it absolutely went on a toss, and we were fighting for sustenance of our marriage with the outburst of corona cases in India. It almost felt like a war going into the marriage. Now we are just doing our bit by sitting back at home and helping the country come out of the dire situation that it finds itself in. There's a lot of good that happens after marriage. When I'm working late at night and I doze off with my workstation on my lap, there's someone who will take off my glasses, who will take off my laptop and keep it aside, and you know, just ensure that I sleep the way people are supposed to sleep. My family also doubled in size overnight. From having one set of parents, now I have two. From having two sets of grandparents, now I have four. It's like a game of chess, except the board is like flowing water, and the pieces are made of smoke, and no move that you make would ever have an effect on the outcome. One more thing that I've realized in the 10 days that I've been married is like arguing with my wife is like reading the terms and conditions section of any digital product or any product that you ever buy. At the end of the day, you just click I agree and on continue. But all the good and the bad, marriage is like getting to sleep with your favorite weirdo for the rest of your life. It's like two antennas who met on a roof, fell in love, got married. There was no ceremony as such, but the reception remains excellent. Thank you so much.
Buenísimo. Buenísimo. Muchas gracias. What a wonderful speech, and welcome to married life. It's amazing. If the timer could put a minute on the time, and please use the chat feature to send some best suggestions, some congratulations, or perhaps just some best tricks on how to live a married life to Amit. That would be awesome. Beautiful. Thank you so much. To add a little bit more knowledge to your guys' plates, I'm going to give you a little bit more history. Also in 1955, the Indian Parliament accepted Hindu divorce. I thought that was kind of an interesting tidbit, just to, bring some culture into this. In 1930, Amy Johnson took off as the first woman to fly solo from England to Australia back in 1930. It's crazy how much time has passed. To introduce our second speaker and what their speech purpose is, I would like to call Evaluator 2, who is Namisha. Will you please tell us what the purpose of the second speech is?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. Good morning and good evening and good afternoon to all the people in this meeting. Today, I'm going to evaluate a speaker to distinguished Toastmaster Raj Mehta. And the purpose of the speech is to connect with storytelling and to practice using a story within a speech or giving a speech that is a story. So the speaker can choose an established story about their life or a fictional tale of their own creation. Timer, please note the timings are 5 to 7 minutes, and I wish all the very best to the speaker. Over to you, Toastmaster Anna.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. Our second prepared speech for today is Raj Mehta, electric shaver. Electric shaver, Raj Mehta.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Gentlemen, have you ever desired something after marriage to have in your life, but you got it after 20 years? You may say that there is no such thing, but there are many. For some of you, or I would say for some of those things, you may be required to take many births. For example, a car, a house, a dream spouse, a child of your choice, an extramarital relation, a long or short travel, doing a business or job of your choice, or using an electric shaver. Did you hear an electric shaver? Yes, this is a story of an electric shaver. An electric shaver which entered in my life after untiring efforts and planning. The electric shaver has been the main cause of my various looks at different stages in my life. I kept on changing my looks with thick mustache, thin mustache, French cut beard, thick beard, clean shave due to availability or non-availability of an electric shaver. As in spite of many direct and indirect efforts, my wife had not brought any dowry at the time of our marriage in April 1994. We had to buy some of the important things urgently. This included a scooter and a TV, amongst many others. We decided to buy these one by one. By the way, on one of those days, my wife asked, Raj, what would you like to have as a birthday gift on 11th August? We deliberated a lot on this, and then she decided to give me an electric shaver of a reputed brand like Philly Shaver, as she wanted my cheeks to feel smoother. As both of us had wasted our own personal money at our own personal marriage, we had to buy the scooter and the TV on hire purchase basis. We bought a Kinetic Activa scooter for 24,000 rupees and a Gold Star TV for 20,000 rupees. This shelled out almost 1/4 of our monthly salary every month. My birthday came and went away. We could not buy the Philly shaver as it was too costly and would have added another EMI, which we were not in a position to afford. My wife, however, forced me to feel happy on receiving a new shirt in place of an electric shaver. In February 1995, we were blessed with a beautiful baby girl, whom you all know by the name Rubel. Believe it or not, Rubel has been my first love in this life. Our happiness increased many folds, and so did our expenditure. Thus, on my next birthday, we decided not to buy the Philly shaver to avoid any extra expenditure. 3 more years passed. EMIs continued, and so did the increase in our monthly expenditure. Rubel started going first to play school and then to Balbharti Senior Secondary School in Pitampura. Though our salaries increased, but these were nowhere to match the increase in our expenditure. Hence, every year the purchase of Philly shaver kept on postponing for next year. In the meantime, it was felt that we should buy a bigger house, as one room set was not enough for a family of 3. We realized that we needed an amount of around 6 lakh rupees for down payment, and we should be ready for an EMI of almost 50% of our total household income for the next 15 years. We deliberated in detail on this serious issue, and then my wife finally decided that we shall go for buying a big house. For this, we had to curb and cut our expenditures, which included purchase of a Philly shaver. The search of a big house got us caught into some property frauds. Yes. Meanwhile, we got blessed with a baby boy, Shivansh, everyone's smart boy. After a lot of efforts and loss of hefty amounts in frauds, we got possession of a 3 BHK flat in Dwarka in 2004. Living in Dwarka without a car was very difficult. Hence, we bought a second-hand car. However, purchase of an electric shaver kept on postponing. Until the year 2015, I was maintaining a very stylish mustache. Later on, I started maintaining clean shave. But now, enough was enough. We had no jamboree during the last 15 years. Thus, I finally decided to buy an electric shaver. Not necessarily a Philly shaver, as by then the Philly shaver would have cost us around 4,000 rupees. I bought an electric shaver of Hattiker brand of South Korea in December 2017. After a waiting period of 23 years, yes, 23 years. In March 2018, I became Division L Director. This required me to make a lot of visits to my existing clubs and for opening new clubs. Hence, just after 3 months, I decided to keep beard. Only after the use of around 6 months in 2020, I have started keeping my beard again. Thus, my electric shaver, which was bought after a wait of 23 years and used only for a total of 9 months, is lying in one corner of my house. Could you please ask if someone would like to use it, Madam Toastmaster of the Day?
It would be my pleasure, Raj. Beautifully done. Buenissimo, buenissimo. Please, timer, if you would put another minute on the clock, allow us to add some tips, some tricks, and perhaps even call dibs on that electric shaver in the chat feature. That would be fantastic. While that is happening, I am going to disrupt a little bit of your thought process as I try to give you a little bit more tidbits, because I know we are about to go into table topics. And I want to get to our Cinco de Mayo excitement. So in 1891, on May 5th, Carnegie Hall officially opened, started by playing a musical piece composed by Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky. A little known fact about me: in June of 2007, June of 2007, I too sang in Carnegie Hall and sang a piece from Tchaikovsky. Just a little fact about me. Awesome. So if the tech master could put in the poll for the best speaker, would love to have that pop in. And while we give you guys a chance to vote for that, I will tell you, because we are now at the point in our history lesson that we're back to 1862, where the French army has attacked Puebla, Mexico. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the purpose, or the reason, the historical piece that brought up Cinco de Mayo. Now, I hate to bust your bubble. I hate to tell you bad news, but we're going to talk about Cinco de Mayo in between all of the greatness that's about to happen. But I'm going to leave you with one simple thought, with all of this beautiful food behind me, that the best piece, the best part of Cinco de Mayo, and if you have ever been to Texas or Mexico, I guarantee you will not be amiss. But the tacos, the margaritas, the tequila, that is what truly makes Cinco de Mayo. So be prepared. It truly is a jamboree down here. Without further ado, I would love to introduce our table topics master this evening to wow us with his knowledge and his adventures. Please welcome to the virtual lectern our table topics master of the day, Surendra.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a lovely time going all the way with Anna and enjoying the whole time there. Today, for the table topics, I actually am doing my own project in Pathways. And as part of this, I will be doing table topics and also give you some highlights of what you said as a part of my active listening project. So, without much ado, let me just explain to you my overview of this whole table topics of the day is on paradoxes. Now, for some of you who don't understand what paradox is, it's seemingly an absurd or contradictory statement or proposition, which when investigated may prove to be well-founded or true. And therefore, let me first call on the virtual podium our visiting Toastmaster and one who I always adore is my friend from Singapore, Naveen. Naveen, are you there?
Good morning.
Hi,
Yes,
good
I'm
morning.
here.
Naveen, the topic I'm going to give you is, if a bottle of poison expires, is it more poisonous or no longer poisonous? If a bottle of poison expires, is it more poisonous or no more poisonous? Naveen.
Fellow Toastmasters, it is said that good things and bad things never have an expiry date in life. Of course, a bottle of poison, no matter how new it may be, or how old it may be, or how antique it may be, it will continue to be just in the same manner. That's how vicious people are. No matter how, whenever you meet them at any point of life, they tend to remain just the same. A wise man had once told me that medicine in the hands of a fool becomes poison, just as poison in the hands of a wise turns into medicine. Of course, it depends on how that poison is applied. It can even be beneficial for you, or it may even be vicious for you. So anytime any difficult situations come across you, or if you come across any vicious people whom you might relate as poisonous, it depends on how you manage them, because every person or everything in life has got two aspects of it. So handle a thing tactfully, handle them positively, and I'm sure that there would be a meaning to it, and it may be beneficial for you, because good things and bad things really don't have much of an expiry date. It's about how you use them and how you apply them that creates meaning for you in life. Because right now we're all in difficult situation globally, but let's learn to take it in a positive prospect, and let's learn to upgrade our skills. Let's take this time to do something meaningful to ensure that the future is more rosy for all of us. Over to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Naveen. Naveen, I heard you handle this topic so well. I love the way you opened by saying that good and bad things remain the same and they need to be looked at in that view. You further said that medicines in the hands of a fool is poison, while when it in the hands of a wise man, it becomes a potent product. I also liked the way you handled this topic by saying that every task needs to be handled and looked at how it can benefit you. And when you closed, you said how they can be used for your own benefit and how you brought it down to the present COVID and how we have to be helpful in trying to see that poisonous thoughts should not be prevailing. Thank you so much. May I now call on the next speaker, and may I call on Rohit. Rohit, are you there? Can you unmute, please? Rohit?
I don't see Rohit. There is Tony.
Okay.
We can call Tony.
Let's call Tony on this. Tony, another of these paradoxes that I would like to present to you. Every time you clean something, you make something else dirty. Every time you clean something, you make something else dirty. Tony.
The key point to what you just said is to clean something, you make something dirty. But the simple answer is simply don't clean. No, in all seriousness, it's along with the towel. As it dries something wet, it gets wetter, but it's supposed to dry you off. So my grandmother used to tell me that cleaning was simply a way of moving dust from one location to the next so that it could return back to the dust it came from. So if you start high, you knock it down, your dust hits the floor. Guess what? Now you sweep it out, up, put it outside, put it in the trash, or do whatever you do with it, and the dust meets its return. So dust to dust, we return. But again, to clean something makes something else dirty. I think it's just a mean aspect of the never-ending circle that says once you do it once, you must do it again and again and again and again. And as Toastmasters say, we do things again and again and again, because that's where we learn. Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. I heard you say that simply don't clean as one of the solutions. But when you brought in your grandmother and said that if you clean one place, you move that dirt to the other. You also said how once you clean some place, somewhere else it gets dirty, and that cycle goes on to the other. And when you put it in the bin, it again gets back to the earth. And therefore, this is a very good recycling process. I also heard you say that you have to do it again and again and again. And in Toastmasters, it teaches us to do again and again and again. Thank you so much. That was very well done. Now, may I call on Anirudh. Anirudh, you're there? Anirudh, can you unmute, please?
Yeah, I'm here.
Anirudh, another paradox which I would like to present to you is, at the movie theater, which armrest is yours? When you're sitting on a seat in a movie theater, which of the armrests are yours?
Okay, thank you for the question, Table Topic Master. Actually, this is a tricky question. Okay, so I would try to give the answer as much as possible. Okay, so during a movie theater, the question is on which armrest my armrest. Is that it? Okay, can you repeat the question once? Or
so at a movie theater, which armrest is yours?
okay, so at the movie theater, actually, I'm not a very movie-going person, to be honest, and I'm from country Nepal, and right now we are having a strict lockdown, and the COVID cases are increasing very much. We are very scared. But yes, if after lockdown I would go to the movie theater, then yes, if I go with my girlfriend or spouse, anything, I would like to keep my arm at the left side, and maybe some at the different armrest, maybe some popcorn, maybe some Coke. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for the question. I hope I gave the answer. Maybe it was a tricky question. Maybe I could not give the answer properly.
No
Okay.
problem.
Thank
No,
you
you
for
did a
giving me
good
the
job.
opportunity anyways.
You did a good job. And I heard you saying, Anirudh, that this was a tricky question. And since you're not much of a movie goer, you were finding it difficult to think how you would go about it. But you did say that if your girlfriend was there with you, you would take her post the COVID situation, and the left arm or the left handrest would be for you, and in the other hand, you would be having popcorns. And I really feel bad. This is a personal opinion. Your girlfriend with you, why don't you lock hands with her and rest your hands on the same rest on the side, seat rest? That will be more romantic for you. Thank you very much. Now, may I go to the next speaker? And I would now want to call on Sheila. And I chose this paradoxical question purely for you. And this is, how come lipstick does not do what it says? How come lipstick does not do what it says? Sheila.
Thank you, Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters and guests. I find that lipstick does not do what it's supposed to do because it ends up everywhere else except where you want it to be. For example, when you first put it on, the minute you touch something like a glass, you now have lipstick on the glass instead of lipstick on your lips. Or if I go to kiss my husband, it's now on his cheek instead of on my lips. These are some of the reasons why, to be honest, I give up on lipstick. Doesn't work for me. That's why I use my handy dandy little chapstick, which some of you just saw me put on, ironically. And that for me works really well. You can't see it on my glass or my husband's cheek or a napkin, and it's easy to apply. And on top of that, it doesn't taste nasty. I don't end up with lipstick on my teeth. I end up with soft lips that, in this case, taste like grapefruit. For me, chapstick is the way to go. Lipstick is on its way out, should be out the window. And as my husband says, you don't need that anyways. So I'll stick with my chapstick. Over to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Sheila. You handled that brilliantly. I heard you saying that lipstick is something which is always there everywhere. Maybe it's your glass or on the cheeks of your husband. Unfortunately, it's still not there on your lips. I love the way you have decided to give up on your lipstick. And I heard you say that you would rather prefer have your chapsticks and throw the lipstick out of the window. Thank you very much. That was very brilliantly handled. Anisha, it's for you. Anisha, can you please unmute?
Hello, Toastmaster Sandra.
Thank you very much. Yes, Anisha. Another paradoxical question for you. And it says, why do doctors practice medicine? Are they having practice at the cost of their patients? Repeating, why do doctors practice medicine? Are they having practice at the cost of their patients? Over to you, Anisha.
Since childhood, I've never been a fan of doctors. My mother would always tell me, Anisha, take your steam before you have to step out to see a doctor. Precaution is really important over here. My father is a lawyer, and I've always heard him saying, I practice law. And just like that, I've always heard doctors saying that they practice their medicine. Well, we all know that practice makes a man perfect, or maybe a woman, or just every human being. But let us break down this paradox. Are they really practicing it, or they are executing it? Well, your question is very correct. This is a paradox. If you are practicing on me, well, what were you doing over your education? Definitely you are missing your exams, or not studying, or just checking out the other gender. And if that's not the case, then I believe doctors should be having a taste of their own medicine for themselves first. For that reason, I think I will continue not to visit doctors, because if they keep on saying that they're practicing medicine, or in that case, even if lawyers are saying that they're just practicing their law, well, I should say that you start executing it properly. Back to you to break this paradox further.
Thank you so much. So, Anisha, one is, I heard you say that you were not a fan of the doctors, and your father being a lawyer, he also practices. And you also said that they should have done all their practices while they were studying. And why do they have to practice now? I thought the questions put up with you were very relevant. Now, may I call on our next speaker, and this time it's going to be Bhavna. Bhavna, can you kindly unmute?
Yes, Anya.
Your topic is slightly longer, but bear with it. It says, 100 years ago, everyone owned a horse, and only the rich had cars. Today, everyone has cars, and only the rich own their horses. I'm repeating. 100 years ago, everyone owned a horse, and only the rich had cars. Today, everyone has cars, and only the rich own horses. Over to you, Bhavna.
Thank you so much, Table Topic Master, for this wonderful topic. This truly holds true. Honestly, I have experienced that. When I was a kid, we were staying in Missouri, and I had 4 pets, 2 dogs, 1 horse, and 1 donkey. And I used to go on a horse to my school. Those were the days when we were so close to the nature and we could enjoy all the fun or the pet love that we talk about. Unfortunately, I can't give that privilege to my son now. Reason being, here when we are staying in Gurgaon, we don't have so much of space to keep a dog, forget about keeping a horse. These days, people have multiple cars parked in their place. But to keep a pet, even to dog, we have to think twice. You call it a space constraint, you call lack of time. We we are running all a rat race. We don't have time for ourselves. We can't care about pets. So those were the brilliant days when we had all the time in the world to care about pets. We didn't have car back then, but we definitely had a horse. And I wish we can get back to those days again. I wish I could get that life to my son. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Bhavna. I heard you say that when you were in Missouri as a child, you had 4 pets, 2 dogs, a horse, and a donkey, and you would go to your school on a horse. You were more close to nature, and in the prevalent, or let's say the prevailing circumstances, you can't afford to give your son the same privileges. And you said this was because of lack of space, and you therefore have seen a movement towards cars, and horses don't seem to be available. Thank you very much. And now, may I move to the next contestant? And I would request Jim. Jim, can you please unmute as the next topic is coming your way?
Jim had to leave.
Okay.
We
So
have Kiana.
Kiana. Okay, Kiana, can you be kind enough to switch on your the voice system? Unmute, please.
And this will be the last table topic.
This will be the last one. Yes. Are you there?
Yeah. Webcam. Kiana, you can come. You can speak via audio.
Just be on the audio. That's fair enough. Are you ready for it, Anna?
Hello?
Your voice is too low. We can't hear you.
Hello?
Yes, I can now hear you. Can I ask you the question, the topic, please?
Yes, please. I will try my best to answer.
Okay. So this paradox is that who knows what time it was when the first clock was made? Who knew what time it was when the first clock was made? Over to you, Anna.
Time is relative to each person and each country. Your time right there, right now is 8, oh, 10, 10 a.m., I think. And ours is about to be 12. We have different time zones and we live in different places. That is why time is relative. It doesn't matter what time is it right now. What is important is what we do about our time. And just like for people, just like for each and every one of us, we have our own time. Our own time to suffer, our own time to experience pain, and of course, our own time to be successful. But what is important to be noted on for everyone is that how we use our time, how we reflect on it, how we use it wisely, and what we do about it is what is important rather than knowing what time is it. So that would be my speech. Thank you, Toastmaster
Thank you.
Shorinda.
Thank you very much, Anna. I heard you say that there are different time zones, and you give us the time in India as well as in your home country. You also mentioned that time is relative and it's your own time to suffer or to use your own time for your own benefits and how you could use your own time. It was primarily an attempt to handle the topic where you had to tell us how did the people who invented the clock actually set the time to the clock. Why was it, say, 1 o'clock if it started at 1 o'clock? It was just that. And I think you did a great job. Thank you very much. And over to you, to the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you very much, all of you, for having participated.
Great job. Wonderful, wonderful table topics. I was attempting to learn how to say that in Spanish. There's no such luck. I am still white. It's very fine. I would like to call for the poll master. Are we ready with the poll for table topics? Or do you need another moment?
Give me 30 seconds.
Okay, well then let's talk about how to celebrate Cinco de Mayo because that is what we're ultimately here for. I mentioned it before table topics, but the number one thing to eat and drink on table topics is tacos and margaritas. Now, anything goes in a taco. I have learned this very well. I have had breakfast tacos, barbacoa, el pastor, anything goes in a taco. Stick a shell in it, place it in. Now I'm really gonna get your mouth watering as you vote for your favorite table topic speaker. But guacamole is one of the specialties when it comes to tacos. So making sure you have extra avocado made fresh with orange, lime, salt, pepper, and a couple of seasonings that I might hide up my sleeve. Ultimately, when you're celebrating Cinco de Mayo, it is important to wear bright, colorful clothing. Nothing professional, actually. They talk about not wearing heels. And unless you are Hispanic or Mexican, it is not proper to wear a sombrero. So make sure that you're not wearing a sombrero. Now that our mouths are fully watering, we are fully ready for our next part of our meeting. I would like to evaluate, or actually I would like to turn it over to Rupinder to share our poster for next week. If you would like to share your screen to talk about what we have in store for next week.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. We do not have a Toastmaster of the Day for the next week. So here is the thing. If you want to be a Toastmaster of the Day, let me know by the end of this meeting. Otherwise, I do have a backup plan, and you're looking at that backup plan on your screen. It is not Anna. It is another person. And trust me, Anna is far more enjoyable. Speaker. I do have something for you. I'm going to share my screen. I am doing a module on the International Speech Contest, which is tonight at 10 o'clock India time. I'm going to talk about how to write a speech that speaks. I'm doing it in the Middle East. This club is in Saudi Arabia and starts at 10 o'clock my time. It's 7:30 local. You can convert it to your individual time zones should you want to attend. Thank you very much. That was it from me. Now you've heard me speak. Decide if you want me as a Toastmaster of the Day. Else, nominate for the Toastmaster of the Day next week. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Pudupinder. I would say I could do it again, but I don't know how I can top these tacos. All right, turning over to our next part of our meeting, I would like to turn to our evaluation team. To bring back to our virtual lectern and to talk about his team, I would like to invite Ariel.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. I am so amazed at this meeting. This is definitely a jamboree of amazing, fun-loving, quick-thinking people. Let's go on now to our evaluation session. Let's call on our first evaluator, Joyetta.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Once again. So I request you to please bring in spotlight our speaker, Amit. And also the timer so that I can see the time.
Timer is sharing their screen, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, that's fine. Wise people say that marriage is the institution where we first learn to take the responsibility. But be wise when you think on this sacrifice, making sacrifice in your marriage. Today, our speaker shown his great courage to speak on his married life after 10 days. And his title also mentioned that my marriage life after 10 days. And Amit, you have good punchlines throughout all your speeches, starting from that I thought life will be run by wife, but now it is by COVID. Act of love or act of sacrifice. Before marriage, my own things are my own, but now it's not my own. So all these punchlines made your speech very beautiful and you presented very nicely to the audience. You were very happy throughout when you are delivering your speech. You were enjoying that every bit of moment. And your eyes said so. I saw the happiness in your eyes too. As I said that your title has the humorous element. My small recommendation to you, do not start your speech just saying my topic for today is 10 days. Instead, you can say, Amit, wake up. Amit, wake up. I don't have, and then you can say, I don't have the freedom to sleep for long hours now. So something you can start with, and then you can come to your marriage life funny moments. Next, I would like to recommend you on your voice modulation, as you have many sign of punchlines. So you can express that with your voice modulation and hand gestures. And also, keep your camera a little far from you so that we can see your body language well. But I'm really very impressed with your smile throughout your speech. You were making eye contact very nicely during your speech. That is amazing, and you have improved a lot. I like your joyful face. And to summarize, to make your speech to the next level, please try to focus on those 3 points I mentioned you. Starting your speech, your voice modulation, hand gesture, and take care of the camera setup when you are delivering your speech. And all the very best for your next speech. No, all the very best for your marriage life as well, because marriage is the best institution to learn, take responsibilities. Over to you, General Evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julieta, for giving our speaker wonderful advice on speakership and on being married. Someday I might need to contact you also for that. Someday. Let's go on now to our second speaker evaluator, Nimisha, please.
I think Nimisha has had to drop off due to an emergency. We can continue with the next evaluation.
Okay, so while Nimisha is still figuring out where she is, let's go to our third evaluator, Rupinder.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Shaurendra Bhaumik, you were attempting your project on active listening. And might I say that you are very much an active listener, and then some more. What you are required to do today was to listen to each speech, take out the key ingredient of each speech, and then present it to us in your own way. There were a total of 7 speakers, and I would like to congratulate you for meeting and in some cases exceeding the expectations in the case of all the 7 speakers. Very well done on that front. I especially liked your evaluation of Tony, of Anirudh, of Anisha, and Bhavna. And I'll tell you why I like them. For Tony, he was telling a story, and he was telling a story, then moving into narrative. Not very easy to follow, but you kept your eyes on the ball. Anirudh was not very comfortable, yet you had encouraging words for him. With Anisha, you were pitch perfect, and with Bhavna, you had excellent observation skills. If there is a development opportunity that I see here, distinguished Toastmaster Shaurendra, I would say that between your role as an active listener, you somewhere deviated and you kind of became a speech evaluator. So at points, you were evaluating the speeches rather than giving your reflections on the content of the speech. So what was coming across was not how actively you had listened, but also how effectively you had analyzed. And somewhere I think that when what you're trying to do is listen, and when you try to do more than listening becomes less active at that point. So you might want to keep that in your mind going forward. Having said that, it is very difficult to maintain the kind of discipline that you demonstrated today. Of special note is the fact that you were able to incorporate 7 speakers in all. and that included your evaluations. That, I think, deserves a round of applause. I personally loved your table topics, although I will tell you that I do not want any of those topics for myself. I can tell by that evil smile on your face that you will have a topic lined up for me and that I will live to see that day. But thank you so very much, distinguished Toastmaster Shaurendra, for sharing that incredible experience. I'm pretty sure a lot of us are inspired by what you did today. Back to you, General Evaluator. General Evaluator, I am informed by Nimisha that she will not be able to deliver her evaluation. She's going to send you a written evaluation which you can share with the audience. As soon as I get it, I will share it with you.
Okay, that makes everything more complicated in this jamboree of jamborees. Thank you so much, Mr. Rupinder Singh, for evaluating the evaluation of the table topics master. Later on, I will evaluate your evaluation of his evaluation of the table topics master. See where how evaluatingly complicated these all are. Thank you for my evaluation team for the wonderful feedback, for the speakership, the styles and everything else when our prepared speakers were doing all that they did. Amazing, everyone. Let's give a big round to everyone. Okay, and I think it's my time now. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's my time now to evaluate the table topics. And this role makes me a lot more nervous than evaluating generally. Let's see. Table topics first speaker, Navin, talked about poison. He went into answering the question very confidently. He dove in quickly with profound message. One recommendation is that Navin could have gone back to the main table topics question, which is about the poison, the bottle. If he could have nicely gone back to mentioning somehow the bottle of poison, that would have been much more awesome. Tony, talking about cleaning. I love what he said about dust to dust. We will return, something like that. That was a good opening quote. Oh, sorry, it wasn't an opening, it was in the middle. But Tony could have started with the story of grandma. I think that would have been an awesome beginning of the speech when he talked about grandma, the story of childhood, always a classic, and it would have been more impactful. Sorry, I could not pronounce the name. Avirut, talking about the armchair. There was an unnecessary introduction, like, thank you for your question, Toastmaster. This is my answer. This is a tricky question. This is a kind of self-defense that we all have because we're thinking of the answer to the question. And I think many of us do this, but the best thing still is, no matter how difficult, let's go straight into the point. And Avirud could have started or could have gone into, I don't really know if the left arm is mine or the right arm is mine. That's why I never go to the movies, something like that. Like, he could have made it humorously or kind of factful, but in a humorous way, just because he does not know which armchair or which arm should he go to. Sheila, talking about lipstick, again, unnecessary opening. Thank you, Toastmaster, and then fellow Toastmasters. There's a nice way of addressing the Toastmaster and also the fellow Toastmasters right after we open. For example, on the second paragraph, we could say that. We could call on the Toastmaster. Amazing way to answer a question that we don't or she doesn't want to answer, by changing the question from lipstick into lip balm or chapstick specifically. She's promoting this brand. I don't know why, but it's amazing because sometimes we don't like the question, but she turned the question into something that she likes to talk about. again, which is the lip balm. Amazing. Amisha, doctors. Amisha opened with a personal childhood story. I told you it's a classic. And then she also compared it with practicing lawyer, her father. And one thing I loved most about this is doctors should have a taste of their own medicine. That is an awesome, awesome quote. And I think she really handled this topic very well. Bavra, cars and houses. For the third time, I'm gonna tell everyone that thanking Toastmaster in the beginning is kind of a defense mechanism that people who have already been speaking for a long time know that we're only buying time. It's not that I'm telling everyone, don't be polite, don't thank Toastmaster. But ladies and gentlemen, we have only two minutes to make an awesome speech. And this is really an unnecessary opening, in my opinion. My recommendation is for Barbara to have talked more about, for example, dogs and pets and happiness. These are the things that people have forgotten. And let's not talk about cars and houses, especially that she still has a lot of time. Kiana, as much as I could, I tried my best. She said time is relative. She could have mentioned Albert Einstein because he's the one who said that. And if we quote somebody, then it's more credible. And although she answered the question very well, very awesome message, she could also have gone back to the question, who knows what time it was when clocks have been invented. Thank you so much. That's my table topics evaluation. Wow, 7 people for 5 minutes. That's not an easy job. Back to Toastmaster.
Nimisha still not sent in our evaluation. We'll proceed. You can move ahead with the rest of the evaluations.
Okay, then. Let's call on our grammar police for the grammarians report, Gayatri.
I am not going to thank anyone because I know what I'm going to say. I don't want to buy any time. And that is why I would love to tell you all that it was an excellent Jamboree today. Word of the day was used by Ariel and Raj Mehta. There were a lot of wonderful usages. I have come down to 5. I have shortlisted the 5 best usages. It felt like going to a war in a marriage. We deliberated in detail. I knew about medicine in hands of fool is a poison, but when Naveen told me about poison in the hands of a wise turns into medicine, that was something new for me. I wish I could, there were some basic areas of errors where we could have done better. It went on a toss. It should have been, it went for a toss. Noted for everyone should have been noted by everyone. I wish I could get that life for my son should have been, I wish I could give that life to my son. We shelled out, it should have been, it was said this shelled out, it should have been we shelled out or this cost us. All in all, it was a wonderful meeting and there were some extremely beautiful usages. Over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you. You're the nicest grammar police I've ever encountered. You're such a nice grammar police woman. Let's call on our counter to call on our crutches for the whole meeting. Elisa.
Thank you, Ariel. And I would like to share my screen so you can see how we did this morning. As you can see, we had some some ers, mainly in this column. This is where we had the most errors. We did have a number of so's and ands. Now, quick observation. Ands are part of sentences that we use to connect two thoughts together. The only time I counted ands is when the person paused for a long time and used that as a crutch word. So if someone said and, then I counted it. But otherwise, ands are obviously part of what we use to communicate, as are so's. But when we use so's in an unnecessary fashion, then I also counted those. I also want to congratulate 2 people who stood out this morning. Amit had a part in his speech where he took a long pause, but instead of using any of these crutch words, he just breathed deeply, looked for the next part of his segment, and moved forward. Congratulations, Amit. I also congratulate Raj because instead of using so, he used hence, meanwhile, therefore, and this made the speech a lot more colorful and added to the flavor of his message. Having said that, I congratulate everybody, continue to encourage you in terms of using the English language to its maximum potential, and thank you for the opportunity to share these facts with you today. Over to you, our general evaluator, Ariel.
Thank you so much, Elisa. It seems to me that Elisa did not only do an counter report, but she also used the grammarian features. Very nicely done. Thank you for that one. And I hope we learned grammatically and counterally, if I may say so. And the next one would be the timers report. Kapil, are you ready?
Yes, Ilya, thank you. So here is my timers report. There were two prepared speakers today, Amit and Raj, and time allotted for both of them was 5 to 7 minutes. Amit took 6 minutes 10 seconds, and Raj got overboard and he took 8 minutes 10 seconds. For our table topics, we have 7 participants. Time allotted was 1 to 2 minutes, and I'm glad to say that everybody qualified in this aspect. Naveen took 1 minute 50 seconds. Tony took 1 minute 28 seconds. Anirudh took 1 minute 10 seconds. Sheila took 1 minute 15 seconds. Anisha 1 minute 31 seconds. Bhavna took 1 minute 46 seconds, and Koena 1 minute 40 seconds. Regarding our evaluation, time allotted was 2 to 3 minutes. Joyita took 3 minutes 15 seconds. Of course, we have a grace period of 30 seconds. So she is qualified. Nimisha, we didn't have any report from her. Rupinder took 3 minutes 18 seconds. Regarding Ariel, your time allotted was 3 to 5 minutes, and you took 5 minutes 40 seconds, a bit overboard. Yeah. Thank you. Over to you, Ariel.
Thank you so much to our very strict timer, Kapil. Now it's time for me to generally evaluate the meeting. We started on time, if I'm not mistaken, according to my, wait, I think the role players poll is on the screen. So please let's vote on that first. And then hopefully we're done. We started on time. That was very professional because we're trying our best not only to be good leaders and good speakers in Toastmasters, but good professional people, starting and ending on time as much as we can. The hosts, the old timers, I suppose, acknowledge our visitors and also our first time role takers, including myself. My suggestion for that would be that I don't know if it's just my own culture, my country's culture, my club's culture, but it would have been better, or it would be better if we smile some more, ladies and gentlemen, especially for the hosts, especially for the people, for example, the president, the SAA, and whoever is hosting in the beginning, because it will really set the whole meeting. This is a little too serious, and I'm not really very used to very serious openings. I think happiness is a universal language that we all could use, especially in these hard times. Toastmaster introduced our theme very well. Toastmaster was also introduced very well by Rupinder, and it's good to always introduce people correctly and properly. I learned a lot about the theme of the meeting because the Toastmaster always had like bits and pieces of history about Cinco de Mayo and why we're doing this. And I think it's very timely that we are doing this. Agenda, the program is very detailed. I don't know if this is your standard agenda, but Jim forwarded to me the agenda. I thought in the beginning it was a bit too detailed. There were too many details, but I loved it as a first timer, as a first time role taker, because I'm really guided as to the details of how the meeting will go. Like what I mentioned before, we do things sometimes a bit differently from club to club. Toastmaster Anna really made the atmosphere very fun, from the background to the attire to her Spanish comments, except the R rolling. And she was emceeing this meeting very nicely with historical facts and figures along the way. Table Topics Master, I love the paradoxes. I love the table topics theme, the questions, they were awesome. And besides, like what Rupinder already said before, she was doing an awesome, he was doing an awesome job in commenting in between. Again, I don't know if this is a common thing with your meeting, guys, but I think it's quite challenging for the Table Topics Master to comment that much and in that little time. But our Table Topics Master did it wonderfully well. I don't know if this is just because of the requirement of his project, but if you're doing this regularly, then it's really, really appropriate to call you Table Topics Masters, because they're the masters of impromptu speaking. Our grammarian Gayatri explained word of the day very nicely, wrote on chat so people would also visually understand what the word of the day is. Very spot on when she was looking for the good usages in the meeting. People sometimes forget that good usages is one of the most important jobs of the grammarian, not only correcting people. She was very keen on her observations at the meeting, and it went very well. I like what I said, she's the nicest grammar police I've ever seen. Timer. Timer, of course, reported and mentioned the details of the time. My recommendation for Kapil is once in a while, look at the camera, because a timer's report is still a speech. And although we need to check our lists, looking at the camera is as good as looking at the audience and connecting with our audience members. Our counter, Elisa, statistics expert with her chart. It's not just auditory. We can see what's happening. We can compare ourselves with each other. We can see what we did in which area. And then she went on to explain these facts and figures. At the end, she congratulated people who did it very well. People who did not do crutch words. Joyetta, for the speaker evaluator one, opened with a good quote about marriage. She had good recommendations. Also, she could have used better wordings. For example, instead of saying do not, Joyetta could have mentioned if I were you, or if I were the speaker, or this could have been better if, something like that. Remember, if someone says do not, it's like our mother nagging us, and we become a little more defensive. She motivated the speaker at the end in about speakership and marriage, and that is really kind of a good way to end the report, her speaker's evaluator report. Rupinder, detailed evaluation about our Table Topics Master, and very specific as to why Table Topics Master evaluated, or as to how Table Topics Master evaluated the table topic speakers. He was very, very observant in the details of how our Table Topics Master dealt with the session. And one thing I love about Rupinder's report is that, or evaluation, is that when he said, if there is kind of like this, I cannot get it verbatim, but he said, if there is a recommendation that I could give, it's a kind of conditional, it's very kind, it's very motivational. And at the end, he was very encouraging to the Table Topics Master, whether the Table Topics Master did the good things and the not so good things, that there are points to improve, but he went on to do it in a very motivating fashion. Overall, I think this was not a waste of my time. It was definitely a great jamboree, a great experience, and I'm very happy to be experiencing, I think, one of the best clubs that I've seen, at least online. When Jim told me that this is a good club, I think he did not lie. Thank you very much, everyone. It was a great meeting, and I am very happy to have been here. Amazing job, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Sorry, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. You gave such a wonderful evaluation. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming over, Ariel. I'm not quite sure what time you're at. I know it's almost approaching midnight for me, so we are almost at Cinco de Mayo, but trust me, I will not keep you until my Cinco de Mayo starts. What kind of Toastmaster would I be other than ending the meeting on a very sour note? I am here, ladies and gentlemen, to explain that Cinco de Mayo is the anniversary of the Battle of Puebla. It honors a military victory in 1862 that Mexico had against the French forces of Napoleon III. It is not a Mexican Independence Day. It celebrates a Mexican military victory, and in fact, the most crucial part of Cinco de Mayo is that it is widely celebrated in America. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, most of Mexico does not even celebrate Cinco de Mayo. It is a well-known, very exciting holiday for most of us in America. And for some of us who live in Texas, know it very well just because of how close we are and the Alamo and all of those great places. But it is history. It is a conquer of forces. It is a day where we can eat and drink and be merry and celebrate some sort of success. But I am sorry to tell you that it really is just another day on the calendar. With that, that is all I have for today's meeting. I appreciate all of you for being here. I will now release control of the virtual lectern back to our presiding officer, Rupinder.
Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Wow. Just to give you context, I did not know what Cinco de Mayo meant. So when Anna sent me a text message saying that, yes, I accept the role of the Toastmaster of the Day and my theme will be Cinco de Mayo, I looked at my son who's studied Spanish till class 10, and he was his school topper in Spanish. So I asked him, what is the Cinco de Mayo? And he said, it is not mayonnaise. It's Cinco de Mayo. And it's 5th of May. And I'm like, why? Why such a random date? And then he told me, but the way he told me was far more sarcastic than Anna was today. What an introduction. Can we have a round of applause for her, please, as Toastmaster of the Day? And on that note, can we have the polls for the best role player? Take 30 seconds. After that, I will take 15 seconds to start generating the certificates. Guests, do not go away. I want your feedback. I often say WTF. I do not mean anything derogatory by that. It simply stands for we take feedback. 10 more seconds to go or 4 more votes to go, whichever is earlier. And we are now closing the polls. Give me 1 second while I write the name of the best role player. And that's it. I am generating the certificates. And as those certificates get generated, let me turn my attention to the guests, starting with the guest who just became my friend some 2 or 3 hours ago, and yet had the intestinal fortitude to stay up until this time just to listen to me speak. Tony, Why don't you give us your feedback?
Thank you, Pender. I have to tell you that it was interesting, as our club doesn't do things as you did. You guys have a longer meeting, and it was really interesting to see. I love the fact of, while I hate COVID, I love the fact that we are able to virtually meet around the world, possibly people that I would never have met, or to be able to join. Interesting speeches, the way that you provide feedback, the breakdown of your table topics, the whole thing. It was an interesting meeting. I appreciate the fact that you invited me, or basically challenged me to come. Since you come to ours, you know, come back for yours. So thank you. Definitely a good meeting, and enjoyed seeing how other meetings across the world work.
Thank you. May I request Kiana? Kiana, is that how we pronounce your name? If you could unmute yourself and tell us.
Hello. Hello, repeater. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so hello, I'm from Philippines, and I was club hopping this morning because I was on home quarantine. I was doing nothing and it's kind of boring. So I came across your post about this Cinco de Mayo table topics. I'm also a table toastmaster member back here in District 75. So this is my first international meet, and I am super amazed on how you do it on other countries. It's totally different from ours. You're really good at all the technicals. You're very specific on your teams, and you're very specific on your evaluation and your time. And it's really professional, really fun to join. And yeah, thank you so much for welcoming me here. I hope to meet you all again someday, like virtually, of course.
And you are most welcome. And we would love to see you, this time properly see you in our meeting. Let's turn our attention over to our resident guest, extended family member, distinguished Toastmaster Naveen Parwal. Naveen Parwal.
Yep. Hello. Yeah, good morning, everybody. And it's always a pleasure to attend the meetings and learn a lot of things from all the wonderful speakers globally. Because in every meeting, I get to learn something or the other. And that's what makes Toastmasters an inseparable part for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Naveen. I would like to ask one of my club members, Toastmaster Gayatri.
It's as usual, Quest is not like a outside club for me. It is my extended family. And it was again a wonderful meeting, and to watch my mentee deliver a speech was all the more exciting for me. And this time he had to implement the feedback which was given to him before. And he did that really well. And I am going to have more fun watching him grow in his own space. And then I have another person here in Quest, my guinea pig, Kapil Kakar, who agreed to be my project for my level 4 effective coaching. And I hope everybody gets to see Kapil also grow. So this is one place where I grow and I see everybody else grow. So I'm having a lot of fun.
You're not the only club member I have. Do not feel jealous, Gayatri, as I move on to the other club member who's been with me since 5:30 in the morning. She was there to witness my speech. Why don't you tell me how great I am, Anisha? I mean, just tell us about the meeting.
I would choose the second choice for sure. And yeah, I accidentally actually joined Blue Quest meeting 5:30 in the morning, but I am happy to be here since 8:30. First of all, starting at 8:27 dot is absolutely good. And the best part about virtual meetings, and I would agree with Tony as well, is that I'm able to celebrate a Mexican festival right here from my room. So thank you, Toastmaster Anna, for taking us through this Jamboree journey of Cinco de Mayo. And I am taking back a lot of things from this meeting. Toastmaster Sorendra's paradoxes and Amit's marriage life, and yeah, and a lot many things. Thank you for having me on BlueQuest.
Let's ask our general evaluator today. How did he feel about it? Pretty sure he has already had a lot to say, but just a couple of extra words. Ariel?
Oh, sorry. I thought I heard the wrong name. I really love this meeting. It's really a good example for people doing online meetings. You have very high standards in a lot of areas. If I could leave one more last suggestion, I don't know if you would be open for this, but I learned this from the best practices, not only in my club, but only in my district. For the evaluators, for example, guys, I want you to consider this. For example, I would be evaluating Rupinder. So I will say, Rupinder, you did this. Rupinder, you did that for areas of of improvement, and these are the things that you did. This is good. You should have done this. How would everyone feel? I'm sure everyone would be feeling that I'm talking to Rupinder, but it's not bad, right? But what if I'm evaluating Rupinder, and instead of using the second person, I would say, everyone, I think the speaker or Rupinder did this and did that. And for his areas of improvement and for the things that he did very well, these are the things. So the difference is, what are the audience members feeling now? The members would feel that I'm talking to them, which is, I think, the more appropriate way. And this to Rupinder, it would also sound much more objective, not too much flattery, not too much offense. It would be very objective. Not that I don't want to talk to Rupinder, but because evaluation, whether it's timekeeping or grammarian's report or speaker evaluation, it's still a speech, and the speech is directed towards the audience, and everyone, I think, would like to learn from the evaluation. So I think that's one of the best things that I learned from Toastmasters. Use the third person, if of course you would consider that. But I know it's not easy to do, but I think it sounds much better.
Point well taken, Ariel. We do it slightly differently. We personalize the praise. So Rupinder, you did this well. And we kind of use the third person for recommendations. For example, the stubborn speaker was horrible. We should not listen to him ever again, kind of a thing. Thank you very much, Ariel. Let's move on to Bhavna. If you could give your feedback.
Sure, Rupinder. It was a pleasure to be a part of this meeting. I feel that this is a club, it's like a melting pot of culture. You get so much takeaway, so much learning. That's fantastic. And Rupinder, just one request. If you could share the link of today's meeting, which is scheduled at 10 p.m., your session, I would love to attend that.
I will do that. Actually, I do have it somewhere. I'll paste it in the chat in just a little while.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I am done with guest hopping. Unless I've missed out on a guest, I would ask if I've missed out, if there is anybody else who would like to provide some feedback from among the guests. Sensing no further.
Raj.
Of course. And by the way, Raj has volunteered to be our Toastmaster of the Day for next week. If nobody from the members of BlueQuest turns up, he will be our Toastmaster of the Day. So Raj, let's hear it from you.
Thank you, Rupinder, and thank you everyone who are available in the meeting and attending the meeting since the morning. It has been a great pleasure attending BlueQuest meeting every week, and every now and then I'm learning new things, especially from people who are from other countries or from other districts, because this is how we are enriching our knowledge, not only in Toastmasters, but in us and many other aspects of life. How they work, what they do, and how they do many things in life. So it's been I would say an international experience. I feel that I'm not attending a meeting in District 41, but I'm attending a meeting at some international platform. That's something I want to say for this club, and I hope that we will be increasing many more international members in this club. Thank you.
Raj, you should not say things like that, because then I start dancing and that's when the attendances start to come up. But I will stop doing that and I will move to we have our award section. If I click this button, the certificates will go by email. But before that, I would like to share the certificates. So here goes. We have 3 best table topics speakers for today. And I will start by calling out the 3rd best table topic speaker. It says that the early bird gets the worm. Well, this bird has been around. It's very late night for him. Many congratulations, Tony Thornhill, for winning the 3rd best table topic speaker. Wonderful. Then we have our 2nd best table topic speaker. Again, another early bird, my fellow club mate, Toastmaster Anisha Gupta. Woohoo! And there is that smile that I tell her to maintain throughout her speeches and her evaluations. Our best table topic speaker is a person with yet another beautiful smile. If only she were around to share it with us. Unfortunately, she's got school in the morning. Many congratulations, Sheila McIntyre. Now, as we move on to our best speech evaluator, it goes to yours truly, but the way I won it, I would not want to win it that way, because I won it because of a disqualification. Otherwise, somebody else was getting the best table topics speaker. That is why we should try and remain within time. The best auxiliary role player. Now, this is a role. When they get the best auxiliary role player, it gives me immense joy, because I think this is one of the most selfless roles in a Toastmasters meeting. It is very difficult to find something positive to say in such a role. A grammarian can always comment people that you got this right. The timer can always comment people, wow, you were in time, and or you finished dot on time, or something like that. But the our counter is like, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you did this wrong, you did that wrong. It's like you're back in class 5 in school. The only thing that is missing is a whip, but which the teacher can beat you with. And yes, Alisa Schneider, they used to beat us with sticks in school. In fact, that reminds me, and I was telling Anisha about it. I'm thinking the worst punishment for the millennials or the generation is time travel. Let's take them back to 1975, drop them there and see how long they survive without a phone, without a television, without so much as a radio. I'm sadistic. I'll move on. Okay. The best role player. Now, this was very closely contested. It was 3 lines moving almost consistently. Then in the last minute, our role player pulled out by just 1 vote. And what a photo finish that was. That is the kind of performance we want to see from the 3 principal role players. But there can be only 1 winner. Today, you're all winners, but the certificate goes to Toastmaster Anna Wessler. Thank you, Anna. Great job done. And now the best speaker goes to, he's learned a lot, both in Toastmasters and as a husband. What can I say? He's got excellent mentors as far as husbands go. Many congratulations, Amit Tandon. and as far as Toastmasters go also. Gayatri, you can smile now. Come on. Okay. Thank you very much. Those were the awards for today, and with a click of this button, you should be receiving the certificates by email. If not, and I'm calling out to you, Ariel, because there might be a chance that Google Apps does not work in China. Let me know. I will send a PDF to you by email. So that was it from my side, and I think I'm still sharing my screen. Okay, I'll just close this window, see what happens. All right, we are back. I am stopping the recording.